Hello, I'm Ndimyake Mwakalyelye. Vincent Makori is off today. This is In Focus. The United Nations says innocent civilians caught in South Sudan's violent political power struggle are suffering. Tens of thousands continue to flee the fighting that has divided the country. VOA's Gabe Joselow reports from a sprawling camp where many of the displaced are now living.
As dawn breaks, hundreds of new arrivals land in the tiny village of Ndimyake on the banks of the White Nile River. They are among more than 400,000 South Sudanese who have been displaced by fighting in the country. In this case, they are running from the rebel-held town of Bor, the scene of fierce battles between the divided military and allied militias.
These boats have just arrived from Jonglei State around the area of Bor. People spent 8 hours traveling in the dead of night just to escape the fighting in the area. And now they're coming here with almost everything they own, including cattle in some cases. If they have the money, they might move on to transition to other places, or they'll stay here until it's safe enough to go home.
Among the new arrivals is the Reverend Daniel Garang, a priest with an assault rifle. He has just helped guide about 100 people to safety after spending 3 weeks in hiding, narrowly escaping rebel attacks. He says he has never fired a shot, and his only prayer is for peace.
Well, for me as a priest, to be peaceful is better than to be more violent. So I wish if there is a ceasefire to stop killing the civilians and the innocent people as I came with them now. You can see me as a military because I'm military-minded, but I'm a civilian.
More than 84,000 people have fled across the river from Bor. The cattle just started arriving this week, a major indication of wealth in South Sudan. The cows could not be left behind. Those who can afford to have brought them over by the boatful, another sign that people are not expecting to go home anytime soon. Elijah Machnom, a local official from Duke County near Bor, says the people who have been left behind are suffering.
They will be living in fear. Like now, many people are hiding in the bushes. Then when they went to the bushes, then there's no food there in the bush. These are the challenges there that I have witnessed there.
Almost all who have settled here in Ndimyake are Dinka, the tribe of President Salva Kiir. They are victims of ethnic tensions that have been reignited by the president's fallout with his top rival, Riek Machar, a Nuer. Elizabeth Yar Garang sleeps under this tree with her mother. In the recent violence, she sees echoes of the massacre of Dinka in 1991 that many blamed on Machar when he led another rebel group.
Why does this man Machar kill people? Old, young, women and children, and now he wants to be a leader. He has done this twice and we cannot forget.
While Dinka have been displaced here, Nuer have been targeted with violence and displaced in other parts of the country, including tens of thousands in the capital. As ceasefire talks drag on, those uprooted by the conflict remain a long way from home. Gabe Joselow, VOA News, Ndimyake, South Sudan.
Now, conflicts in South Sudan and the Central African Republics have sparked calls for action from the international community. VOA's State Department correspondent Scott Stearns was with Secretary of State John Kerry in Kuwait City for a conference where he addressed both conflicts. So thanks for joining us, Scott, to tell us more about this.
Sure.
And of course, here in Washington, D.C., there have been hearings, discussions since last week about what's going on in South Sudan. Not surprising that Secretary Kerry will bring it up in Kuwait City with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. What was the nature of that conversation?
On the sidelines of the Syrian donor conference, Secretary Kerry and Secretary General Ban met to discuss the conflict in South Sudan, focused primarily on supporting the IGAD peace process, the talks going on in Ethiopia, and also the urgent move by the Secretary General to try to reinforce the United Nations mission in South Sudan to have a military component to try to restore some order to that part of the world.
Now, is there concern that it's going to escalate beyond what it is now? That's been part of the concern here in Washington.
Certainly. I mean, the United States and the United Nations were both vital to the creation of South Sudan. And so the thinking is that they need to be involved in the process of keeping it together and preventing this very complex situation from destabilizing itself further. It's not as if Riek Machar is heading a unified rebel opposition to Salva Kiir. The president faces opposition from a number of segments of the population in South Sudan that are not unified under any one central opposition authority, and that makes it far harder to resolve the crisis.
We don't have too much time, but before you go, I do want you to touch on the Central African Republic, which was another topic of discussion between the two. And we're hearing reports now, some suggesting, including within the UN, that there's possibly a genocide that is going to outbreak there.
Central African Republic was also, yes, part of that talk in Kuwait City, but it was more central to the conversations that Secretary Kerry had with the Secretary of State for the Holy See, Pietro Parolin, in Vatican City. Salva Kiir is himself a Catholic, and the understanding that what the Catholic Church can do in South Sudan, but also in Central African Republic, where the religious nature of the conflict there is not something that's deeply ingrained in Central African Republic, but is relatively new. The hope is that with the help of the Catholic Church, that's something that can be diminished.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Scott Stearns, VOA's State Department correspondent, joining us here on Africa 54. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories that we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com.